Hello, welcome to episode 19 of In at the Side. I'm Dom Hardman. Today I'm joined by Neil Williamson and the man who does this.
Ken Owens, the hooker, charging on, gives it to Lou Reed. Dominic Day, can he make the line? That'll be Dominic Day.
Of course, it's former Saracens player Dom Day. How are you today, Dom?
I'm very good, thank you.
Good. How's lockdown treating you at the moment? What have you been up to?
Well, same as everyone really. A lot of time at home, some quality time with the family. But aside from that, we've been pretty busy cracking on with business, and that's pretty much it, to be honest, mate.
Well, go on, Neil.
I was just going to clarify on that. So, what business is that? Sorry, you obviously mentioned it. Is that something you started after you finished playing?
Yeah, we sort of started it. Myself and George Cruz, it was probably about a year and a half before I retired. We started a CBD company. So It's called FourFive CBD. And obviously, for the last few years, we've had one eye on retirement and what will come after rugby. I've always been wary that it won't last forever. So we've got another business together as well. And then we sort of had great results using CBD and decided to sort of start a business, and it's going really well.
Perfect. And obviously, COVID and coronavirus, has that affected your business massively, or is it something you can deal with? Yeah,
no. Well, we're probably in one of the better sectors, luckily enough, being sort of health and wellness. So it's actually something that is probably at the forefront of people's minds at the minute.
Yeah.
And we're actually doing okay. And probably just as coronavirus was hitting, we actually launched in Boots as well, Boots pharmacies.
Oh wow! Yeah.
And they're one of the things that are actually staying open during this time. So it's okay. We're lucky enough I know a lot of businesses are struggling, and it's terribly sad. But I think we'll be okay, and I think we'll get through it.
Perfect.
So what is the sort of the basis behind CBD? Because obviously, I think it's heavily linked to when obviously the law changed in 2018. But obviously, I think plenty of people outside of the sporting world won't know the sort of the background of this relatively new sort of concept. Yeah.
So, just to go right down to basics, CBD is a compound of the cannabis plant, and a lot of research has shown that it's got medicinal properties and benefits of that side of things. So, like you mentioned, it was legalized in sport in 2018. It was taken off the banned substance list by World Anti-Doping, and it just happened to coincide when I'd had an operation towards the tail end of my career. I sort of ended up having quite a few operations, so I used it sort of to help my recovery, and I just saw such great benefits from it. I was really surprised with sort of the speed I was able to sort of get back training, get back playing, and for the rest of my career, then I used it just sort of basically as a supplement, really, much like you'd use any supplement, or more than vitamin C, vitamin D, whatever. I would just use it daily, and George had a similar experience as me, and just our own experiences sort of drove us to sort of start the business.
Okay. So, what sort of products does the CBD come in? Is it like a cream, or like you say, shakes or supplements, or a whole range of stuff?
Yeah. So our flagship product would be sort of like an oil, and with that you just drop it under your tongue. It's sort of the best way to get it into your system would be just to leave it in your mouth for around a minute. But we also do have a range of topicals, some that will have a cooling effect on the muscles, some a warming effect, and we have capsules as well. A lot of people are just used to taking capsules and tablets, so we've got a range of capsules as well. So there's a lot of different ways to take it. Some are more effective than others, but like I said, our oil would probably be the most effective way of taking our products.
I know there's been a big boom in that. Sorry, Dom, I was going to say, I know there's been a big boom in it. I just wanted to sort of change subject slightly. Go back to your career. Now, obviously, you've played for many decent clubs. You played for Llanelli, Bath, went to Japan for a year as well with Toyota for a bit. Also played for Wales in 3 different categories: under 19s, under 21s, and the men's squad. I don't know the official name for it.
Yeah.
What would your best experience in rugby be? What's the one thing that's in your mind?
Like I think probably like making the World
Got to
Cup
be
squad.
playing for Bath, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, listen, I'll be honest. So the first question, like, what would be the main achievement? Would probably be making the Wales World Cup squad.
Yeah.
I think from everyone on the outside looking in, like everyone, like for me as a youngster as well, like playing for Wales is always something that I was like, oh, wow, like I'd love to do that. I'd love to do that. But then on the flip side, like, there's always a massive part of me that wanted to like travel. There was always a bit like, oh, like I'm at this age now where yes, it's amazing being a professional rugby player, but like I'm also young and I want to go and travel and experience things. And I know Bath's not far, like Bath's like just the other side of the bridge. But for me, growing up in West Wales, like I'd never really left. I went to Bath, and that's where I really started to love rugby. Like I loved the city, I loved the people, like, and like we were moderately successful. We sort of made the Premiership final, but then off the back of that, I was like, right, I need more of this. Like, what can I do? And being sort of one of the only, not just Welsh players and Northern Hemisphere players to play in Japan and play Super Rugby, like that for me is personally a massive achievement, and it's something that not many people do, because I think they're just a little bit scared and they feel like you should probably just stay home and not stay home. Sorry, stay local.
In your comfort zone.
Yeah, exactly. In your comfort zone, stay safe. But you know, I was just like, oh, what the hell? I'm going to give it a go. Like, not really knowing what was going to come of it. But I did it, and I just had the best experiences. Like, not just rugby experiences, but just life experiences. Like, not many people get to go and live in Japan. And it was amazing. Or like live in Melbourne, which is just one of the best cities in the world. And I made lots of friends. And just had, like I said, had the best experiences.
Right. Now, obviously, touching on Japan, I mean, obviously they did fantastically at the World Cup last year. Do you think that there'll be a massive influx in sort of grassroots players and people taking up the sport over there because of that?
Yeah. The Japanese are amazing people. They buy into everything. I think you saw the support of the World Cup, which was just like crazy. Like I remember watching on the news one of Wales's training sessions, and it was a full stadium. I think it was like 20,000 people for a training session, and they were singing the Welsh national anthem, and I was like, wow, that's amazing. But yeah, I don't know the stats, but I do know that rugby has grown massively in popularity over there, and they're very disciplined people, and there's no doubt that they will buy into it, and in the future you'll see that come through. Like they're getting better and better year on year, and I think that's going to continue to happen.
Perfect. Ideal.
So first major club, obviously Scarletts. How did that sort of come about? What was your early stages of turning pro?
Yes, so I grew up in Pembrokeshire in West Wales, just like a small village. It was quite funny. Like I always say it, like no one ever really asked you if you want to be a professional rugby player. It was just like, you're tall, you're big, like you go and do it. So like my PE teacher, Neil Truman at the time, was like, right, you're going to go off at, they called it like the County Elite, Pembrokeshire Elite. You're going to be involved in that. And then that's where it already started, really. I played for Pembrokeshire County Rugby, and then got picked up by Scarletts Academy at the time. There wasn't even regions. This is how long ago we're going. But then sort of turned into Scarletts. And back then, academies weren't academies like they are now. It was just, they were just like, you are in the academy, but like nothing else happened. It was just like, I had that.
Just my name.
Just like that was it. Yeah, they gave you a polo shirt and like you're part of Scarletts Academy, and that was it. But obviously things are a lot different now. Yeah. So like I came through. I played a couple of seasons for Llanelli, which did and Carmarthen Quins, which had been feeder clubs. And then like from 20, I was sort of playing for Scarletts and sort of playing regional rugby. Like it didn't start very well, but I kind of grew into it and went from there really.
I noticed that you started as a number 8 and then got moved to second row. Was that very early on in your career?
Yeah, so number 8 was when I was playing for Pembroke RC when I was like young. So that was, like I said, the biggest guy on the field. Let's put him somewhere. Like I wasn't particularly fast, but I was kind of big. So they're like, right, let's get the ball in his hands. Put him at number 8.
Yeah.
Didn't have a clue what I was doing, but quickly they realised I wasn't very skillful and I actually wasn't that good. So they pushed me into second row, and that's kind of where I continued until I went to Japan, and then I found myself playing 6 for some reason.
Okay.
I don't think even they knew why I was doing it, to be honest. But
well, I felt the pain. I mean, I always wanted to play 8. I think second row is my best position. Many clubs have tried to put me at second row, and I've always resisted. But it's not seen as a very.
You are a second row. You've had a couple of games at centre. You are a second row, mate.
I'm a skillful second row. Yes, not seen as a very glamorous position, is it? You're doing all the hard work, and you're in the places that hurt all the time, getting chucked up in the air, and don't seem to get a lot of benefit from it. But is that something that you were gutted about, moving from 8 to second row? Or?
Nah. It suited me. It suited me perfectly. Like I was never a flashy player. I was never like a massive ball carrier. But one thing that I figured out pretty quickly in my career was that just by being smart and just like doing the basics and working hard, I'm going to be able to like make a career out of this. So I just learned how to do a few things really well, and basically it was line outs, defending, and then just doing the grunt work basically. And I know it's not flashy. I know a lot of people, like supporters, wouldn't see stuff like that, but that never really bothered me. I was never really like massively keen on the limelight as such, and like being that the most famous player on the team. Like I just wanted to be involved and be a part of the team. Like I just loved being around the guys day in, day out, and I knew that like just doing that would get me a place on the team.
Yeah.
So yeah, like that's pretty much just what I was happy doing. Like I always worked hard. Like I didn't make many mistakes when I played, and from that, like I tried to be as physical as possible. So when hitting rucks and tackling people, I know it managed to get me to pretty much the top.
Yeah.
Playing in the World Cup, playing for Wales, and I think that's a good lesson for a lot of people. Is probably focus, like obviously work on everything, but focus on what you're best at, and just let that shine through, I think.
Yeah, great advice.
So you talk about obviously you wanting to travel. Obviously you went to Toyota and then Melbourne. What was life like in Melbourne?
Yeah, life in Melbourne was brilliant. Like it's probably one of the best cities I've ever been to. The rugby was difficult for a couple of reasons. First of all, the training was very, very hard. There were long sessions, like sometimes touching like 2.5 hours. And that might not sound like a lot, because I know like when you play sort of club rugby, amateur rugby, like that would be a normal thing because you only train twice a week. But when you're doing it four times a week, sometimes 5 times a week, and especially with the intensity that Super Rugby teams train, it was very difficult. And I struggled because I'd come off the back of a World Cup, and then I played a full season for Bath. Then I went straight to Japan. I played a season in Japan. I went straight to Super Rugby. So I'd gone nearly 2 years without having a holiday or a rest, and my body just like really struggled then with that increase in intensity again. So I was like struggling with a few different injuries. I definitely didn't put my best foot forward in Super Rugby. But listen, like I'm still grateful that I had the opportunity to do it, and I don't regret having gone and done it. But it probably was for me on the field disappointing. But living in Australia was great. Like Melbourne was awesome.
I don't think you ever took flip-flops off, did you? I think you don't own a pair of shoes in Australia.
Oh no, it's such a cool city, and right on the beach as well. And that's exactly what I'm all about. Pretty chill on the beach, like just loving life.
Ideal.
Okay, then obviously return to the Premiership with Saracens. How did that sort of materialise?
Yeah, so like for some reason I had it in my mind. So my agent Gareth Morgan, we grew up actually playing rugby together, and he went to Japan, right, and playing rugby, and then came back and he was telling me about it when he became an agent, and I was like, oh, I definitely want to do that. I had it in my mind for some reason for ages. So in my head, I was like, right, I'm going to get to 30, I'm going to go to Japan, and I'm just going to stay in Japan, because like you get 6 months off a year. They look like the seasons are short, like not many games, and you get a lot of time off to recover. So I was like, right, I'll just go there. I'll play till I'm 50 in Japan, easy. So I went, but when I got there, like I had the opportunity to play Super Rugby. So I said to the Japanese team, Toyota wanted to keep me, and they were like, yeah, we want to keep you, but we don't want you to play for any other teams. I was like, oh, well, I've got this opportunity. I've wanted to do it since I'm a kid. So I was like, oh, listen, like I'm going to play Super Rugby, and just so happened Saracens came in just after that and were like, will you come back and play for us for 2 years, which turned into like 2.5 years. And I was like, yeah, like timing's perfect. So I'll go up to Japan, play Super Rugby, go back to Saracens. And listen, I mean, not many better clubs that I could have hoped to be picked up by.
No,
but yeah, and then obviously the whole situation. What happened with the San Diego move?
Yeah, so like I said, I sort of started picking up injuries towards the end of my career. Now, I don't know if you worked out yet, but I come from a small village in West Wales. I love the beach in Melbourne. I was like, San Diego, that's a bit of me. That's what I'm all about. So I know the head coach there, Rob Hoadley, and I'd been in touch with him a couple of times. I went on holiday to the West Coast the year before of America, and I met up with him, and I watched them train. And I was like, I felt like I could offer something there, and I felt like even if I wasn't peak fitness, like I could go. It's such a level that they're developing really quickly and getting better and better. So he got in touch with me and he was like, listen, do you fancy coming over? Like, you can help out in terms of your experience and coaching whilst playing. And to me, that was perfect. But like the last year at Saracens, like my body just started to sort of get a bit worse again, and I was just like, I was sort of in that mind space of like, it's tough when you're waking up every morning and being like, oh, like I'd wake up and I was like, oh, man, how am I going to feel this morning? And like swing my legs over the side of the bed, stand up, and I'd be like, eesh, like my back's bad, my knees bad, my shoulders bad. And some days it'd be great, sometimes it would just be like rubbish. So I just had to make that decision, really. The business was going well, my body wasn't as well, and I just had to look to the future. And I think it was a tough decision, because obviously retiring is tough for anyone. Like, you never think it's going to come to an end. But then, like, I do have to, like, I got a young family, and I just had to think about that, really.
Yeah, priorities and all.
Yeah.
In terms of your career, obviously you played with many, many, many players. We've been doing this, we brought it in recently, we've just been asking our guests to sort of name a 15 out of players they've either played with or against, and sort of their top 15 they would pick.
Yeah. All right, that's a difficult
We like putting people on the spot.
Yeah. All right, so we should go 1 to 15.
Yeah.
All right. So one would probably be Paul James. So he, mainly because he was a Welsh loosehead. He was at Bath with me as well. But he was probably the toughest guy like I'd ever met or ever played with. Like, he's tough, and like someone that you always wanted on your side. The first social, he actually knocked me out in the first social that we had at Bath.
What was that?
Oh, it got messy, and a lot of stuff happened. But yeah, anyway, a lot of respect for him after that. And then 2, I'll go with. He's a good mate of mine, Rob Webber, who England hooker. I always call him the last of the old school because he doesn't look like a professional rugby player, but he literally only just retired, and I think he's playing the best rugby of his career. Just before obviously coronavirus happened for Sale, and like quality player. Like you always want someone who's going to be reliable when throwing the ball in, especially as a line out forward. So 3 I go probably Vincent Koch. Like I just always enjoy. I always enjoy watching him play. Like he's obviously won a World Cup in Japan, but like such a mobile player, like skillful player, and he's a good guy as well. Second row's a tough one. Do I include myself in this or not?
Of course.
Do I have to?
You don't have to, but, you know.
Second row. Well, I had the privilege of playing against Victor Matfield. Like he's an unbelievable player. So, he's got to be in there. I played against Bakis Poto as well. So.
No, that's a formidable second row together.
Yeah. Like they were two people that. They're definitely two people that I grew up watching them, and I was like, I never want to play against them. And I did, but so I'll choose them as my locks. Back row, probably. I'm trying to think. Yeah, like Billy Vunipola is obviously like quality number. I've played with so many good number 8s. So it's a difficult one. This, but Billy's like a quality player. Like you. I heard the stat that when him and Mako played together for Saracens, I think Saracens win 90% of the time when the two of them are playing together. It's crazy. So I'll go with Billy, and then obviously Justin Tipperick, like just magical player. Like what a player. Who else? Oh, Simon Easterby. Like he was like I used to love playing with him because he's another hard nut who was just like would just like looked like he'd been like battered week in, week out.
He was on your side though, I bet.
yeah, and he's on my side. Scrum half, again, some good scrum halves. I played with like Dwayne Peel. Who's a Bath? I can't even remember that far back now.
Is it Stringer?
Oh, Strings is up. Yeah, let's go Strings. Yeah, Strings. What a guy. Like, just a legend, isn't he?
I know.
One for the small guys as well. Let's go with Strings. 10, like obviously Faz's quality. Yeah, you got to put Faz in at 10, I think. Yeah. Just like you always, I always really like knowing that there's a good defensive 10 as well. Yeah. So Faz will go in there, and he's pretty skillful as well, isn't he?
He's not bad.
Yeah. 12, probably Regan King, like probably without a doubt, like the best player skill-wise I've ever played with. Like just absolutely quality. 30. I always get 12s and 13s mixed up. I can't remember which one they are. So, but 13. Jonathan Joseph was always good. I always enjoyed playing with him. Yeah. Wingers, Rock of the Goonie. I remember when the year we got to the finals, he was just carving up. When we got to the final with Bath, he was just like unstoppable. Nick Bendenham probably at fullback. Really enjoyed playing with him again. Just like would make something out of nothing.
Yeah.
We got another winger as well, didn't we? I'm trying to think who's up. I'll play the guy called Tom English for Melbourne Rebels.
Yeah.
Big, strong, fast, good guy.
Perfect.
So that's really like just off the cuff because obviously I played against like Brian Habana. I think I played against most of them all. So, but listen, like that's not a bad 15 there.
I wouldn't want to come up against them, that's for sure. And what about the best manager you ever played under?
The best manager?
Yeah.
Probably Gary Gold. I really enjoy Gary. Like, so he that would have been the time where I really started enjoying my rugby again. I was probably a bit when I moved to Bath from Scarletts. I was a little bit
disillusioned.
Yeah, just like I probably took a bit of flack at Scarletts, and rightly so, because I wasn't really playing very well. I probably got a bit complacent, and it's like I got there and I was like, I don't really know if I'm going to be playing at Bath. Like they look for like big hard like packs and stuff, but Gary like just sort of, he was like, yeah, like get stuck in, you work hard, whatever. And he also loved taking the boys out on the beers as well, which I really enjoyed. Yeah, so he was a good guy. He was a bit mad, but yeah, Gary was class.
Brilliant. I've got a situation. Is that what it's called?
It's a scenario, mate.
I always get it wrong.
Come on.
Basically, they call me scenario. I've got a same question we've been asking a lot of our guests recently. It is Corona-based. Now, here's the situation. You're locked in a studio flat for 2 weeks, right? One two-bed studio flat with, you're not allowed to leave. People are bringing you food, and you're stuck in there with one player. Who would make it an absolute living hell? Who would you hate to be stuck in there with? Someone you play with.
One guy that I really like, but I think for more than a day would be a struggle is probably Richard Barrington.
Right. Why is that?
Like, the remixes.
But like he just can't sit, like stuck in a small. He can't sit still for 2 seconds.
Yeah,
like, he has to be doing something, and I just think that he'd be going out of his mind. Like I'm totally opposite. Like I'm quite happy stuck at home for a couple of weeks, just lying down, whatever. But Baz, like he literally can't sit still for 5 minutes, and yeah, I'll go with Baz. Yeah.
Nice. Happy days.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much for coming on the pod, Dom. Really appreciate it.
No worries at all.
Chatting to you.
And hopefully we can catch you again soon when there's some actual rugby to talk about.
Yeah, let's hope so.
Lovely. Well, thanks for talking to us.
Cheers.
Thank you.